Dan McTeague joins me now. Dan, good to have you back on the program. I know it's been really busy. And the constant question, of course, for you is there going to be any relief, or what do we need to do to now pivot to this new reality?
Well, Angie, I'm not sure because this reality has come fast and furious and a lot sooner than even some of us could have anticipated. I thought $2 a litre in the GTA would hit somewhere around the May 24 weekend. Here we are 2 weeks well before that. What it does suggest is that we could be looking at, in places like the GTA, 2.10 a litre. But we're not going to escape this. I mean, for instance, tomorrow in Vancouver, it will be 222.9. That's $2.22. 0.9, almost 223. And that's really, I think, a sign of things to come, unless something dramatic should happen on either a global recession, which none of us want, or Russia makes a decision on Monday, which some might see as a bit of an opportunity for Vladimir Putin to back off and to use that day to say he's achieved whatever he wanted to achieve, as bloody and as deadly as it was in Russia. Short of that, Angie, we're heading towards $2.10 as an average in Ontario. And of course, provinces that have lesser taxes, the prairies in particular, they might be moving up as much as 10 to 15 cents a litre, even from the numbers that you have correctly provided from the CAA. And so I am not seeing this as any relief anytime soon. I'm more concerned about diesel, which of course meanders into pretty much everything else that we use and touch, from farming all the way to mining, all the way back to manufacturing. And so whether it's plane, trains, or automobiles, there really is no solace on the horizon.
And the domino effect of this, Dan, of course, you say that what leans on this is what happens with Russia and the war in Ukraine. What leans on this is what happens sort of from world leaders on the international front to say, okay, what do we need to do in order to ensure we're getting the supplies in at the cost we need to without having the effects of Russia on this. But the domino effect of the cost of living is through the roof right now. Buying a home is not attainable for many people. Going to the grocery store, people are talking about their grocery bill doubling. The long-term effects of this, what do you foresee? Because then the question comes, well, where does the government step into all of this to help people? We know there's been a lot of help during the pandemic. That relief is now being pulled back. But now just living day-to-day life based on occurrences in the everyday world, for those that are living below the poverty line, they can't make ends meet at all.
They can't. And an enterprising MP back in 2000 and 2002 brought in energy rebates, convinced his government at the time to do that, to at least provide the windfall that federal and provincial governments are making, especially the federal government with the GST across the country, could go a long way towards helping consumers, especially those on fixed incomes. The federal government is probably going to pick up an extra $3 or $4 billion, given the fact that energy, oil, gasoline, and diesel prices have gone up 75 to $1.15 a litre year over year. The fact that that's being taxed at 5 and 13 and 15% is frankly unfathomable and not the Canadian way. So I think there is some room for the federal government. Europeans are saying, what's wrong with Canada? Why can't you get us the oil and natural gas? You have the third largest provable reserves in the world. What is your major malfunction? And I think it comes down to, we're going to have an adult discussion on pipelines. Government should be removing the carbon taxes temporarily, and they should also be looking at a way to rebate some of this to Canadians, at least temporarily, as Europeans are doing, as many other countries are doing. They recognize the consumer can't take much more of this.
Quickly, Dan, before I let you go, I'm out of time here, but we are in the midst of now a provincial election as well, less than 4 weeks before, or less than a month, I should say, before voters go to the polls. For Ontario, one of the provinces hit hard during all of this. What are you looking for from the respective leaders?
I think they need to talk more openly about the notion that energy affordability is paramount to everything else. And so find ways to drop those prices, not subsidies for rich people to drive around in EVs, or finding ways to drive up the cost of electricity. We need to deal with that as well. The governments can't afford to take on much more debt. The fact that they're doing it to achieve green outcomes is not going to help in the long term, and certainly not in the short term.
It is a very, very long list indeed. You mentioned EVs, so those electric vehicles, that's still not there yet, as you know, not everyone can afford that. So it is a very, very long list. We're going to keep a close eye. Dan, I know it's been a very busy day, and I appreciate you giving me your time. Dan McTeague is president of the Canadians for Affordable Energy. We'll talk soon again.
Bye now.
Bye-bye.